The distress call from the stars. Commander Elena Rice stared at the data scrolling across her monitor, a cup of lukewarm coffee forgotten in her hand. For the past 8 years, she had commanded Neptune Observation Station, the farthest permanent human outpost in the solar system. The station's primary mission was to monitor deep space and maintain the network of gravitational sensors that protected Earth's shipping lanes. It was vital work, but Elena couldn't deny that most days blended together in predictable sequences of sensor checks and system diagnostics. Today was different. "Dr. Nakamura, I need verification on this signal," Elena called, her voice echoing across the station's main observation deck. The signal had appeared 4 hours ago, a repeating pattern emanating from somewhere beyond the Kuiper Belt. It didn't match any known natural phenomenon. Dr. Hikaru Nakamura, the station's lead astrophysicist, looked up from his own terminal. "I've run it through every filter we have, Commander. The signal is artificial. I'd stake my career on it." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Humanity had searched the stars for signs of intelligent life for over a century. There had been promising leads before: radio bursts, unexplained phenomena, even potential biosignatures on distant exoplanets. But nothing conclusive. Nothing like this. "How far?" she asked. "Based on signal degradation, approximately 2.3 light days from our position, just beyond the heliopause," Hikaru replied, excitement evident in his normally composed voice. "Whatever it is, it's in our neighborhood, cosmically speaking." Elena initiated the first contact protocols that had been established decades ago, but never used. As station commander, she was required to notify Earth Control immediately and secure all data. But she hesitated, her finger hovering over the transmit button. Something about the signal pattern nagged at her, a sense of urgency she couldn't explain. "Run it through the linguistic matrices," she ordered. "Before we alert everyone, let's see if there's actually a message here." Hikaru nodded, typing commands rapidly. The station's quantum computer hummed to life, applying advanced cryptographic and linguistic algorithms to the alien signal. Hours passed as the system worked, the small crew of Neptune Station gathering around the main console in tense silence. When the computer chimed, Elena leaned forward, her heart racing. On the screen, the alien symbols transformed into English text. "Emergency broadcast. Valissari Exodus Fleet. Life support failing. 42,000 souls aboard. Power critical. Navigation systems compromised. Trajectory will intersect with system's gravity well in 82 cycles. Request immediate assistance. Coordinates follow." "My God," whispered Carla Santiago, the station's chief engineer. "It's a distress call." Elena straightened, suddenly conscious of the weight of the moment. "Alert Earth Control. Priority Alpha. We've just received a distress call from an alien civilization, and they're headed straight for our solar system." The next 3 days passed in a blur of emergency meetings, data analysis, and heated debates. Long-range telescopes throughout the solar system redirected their focus to the coordinates provided in the message. The images they captured confirmed the impossible: a fleet of enormous vessels, their designs unlike anything humans had conceived, drifting on a trajectory that would send them plunging into the sun within months. From her station, Elena watched the global response unfold via delayed transmissions. Earth's Unified Council convened an emergency session, with representatives from every nation debating humanity's first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. "This could be an elaborate deception," argued General Weizong of the Pacific Alliance. "A Trojan horse designed to draw our resources away from Earth, or worse." The technological capabilities required to fake these signals and visual confirmations would indicate an advanced civilization, countered Dr. Abimbola Okafor from the African Union. "If they possess such technology, they hardly need trickery to overcome us." "The science is clear," said Professor Mario Gutierrez, Earth's leading xenobiologist. "The energy signatures from their vessels show massive fluctuations consistent with failing systems. If they were planning an invasion, why would they approach with damaged ships? The debate continued for days while Alina and her crew worked tirelessly to establish more direct communication with the alien fleet. Using advanced quantum translation algorithms, they managed to exchange basic information. The aliens called themselves the Valasari, a spacefaring species fleeing the violent destruction of their home system. Their Exodus fleet had suffered catastrophic damage navigating through an unexpected radiation storm. With their propulsion systems failing and life support reserves dwindling, they had broadcast their distress call in desperation. Alina presented her findings to the Unified Council directly. The Valasari fleet will reach the outer boundary of our solar system in approximately 47 days, she explained. Their current trajectory will carry them into the sun's gravity well, where they'll be unable to escape with their damaged systems. We estimate complete destruction of their fleet within 112 days from now, if no intervention occurs. And what do you propose, Commander Reyes? Asked Council President Johansson. Even our fastest vessels would take months to reach their current position. Alina took a deep breath. I'm proposing Operation Lighthouse, a rescue mission using experimental propulsion technology to intercept the Valasari fleet, provide emergency assistance, and help redirect their course away from the sun. Her proposal ignited new controversy. The experimental Hawking drives she suggested had never been deployed on a manned mission. The theoretical physics worked on paper, but many considered the technology too dangerous for practical application. This is madness, objected Admiral Chen of the Space Force. You're suggesting we risk valuable ships and crews on untested technology to rescue aliens we know nothing about. Alina stood her ground. I'm suggesting we live up to humanity's highest ideals. Throughout our history, when we've received distress calls from sinking ships, crashed planes, or stranded explorers, we've responded. Not because we knew those calling for help, but because helping those in peril is fundamental to who we are. Her words resonated with many council members, but the vote remained deadlocked for critical hours. It was the surprising intervention of Joseph Franklin, the reclusive trillionaire whose company had pioneered the theoretical work on the Hawking drives, that finally tipped the balance. My company will provide the necessary technology and resources, Franklin announced. If Commander Reyes believes this mission is possible, I trust her judgment. Humanity has spent generations looking to the stars, wondering if we're alone. Now we know we're not. Our response to this crisis will define us as a species for generations to come. With Franklin's backing, the Council approved Operation Lighthouse by a narrow margin. Alina was named Mission Commander, with authority to select her crew and oversee all aspects of the rescue operation. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Alina established mission headquarters at the Jupiter shipyards, where 3 vessels were rapidly retrofitted with the experimental Hawking drives. Named Prometheus, Athena, and Hermes, these ships would form humanity's first interstellar rescue fleet. Alina selected her crew carefully, seeking out specialists whose unique skills and temperaments suited the unprecedented mission. Dr. Nakamura joined as Chief Science Officer, his expertise in alien communications deemed invaluable. For Chief Engineer, Alina recruited Sofia Kovic, whose brilliant but unorthodox approach to physics had contributed to the Hawking drive's development. The drives work by creating a localized folding of spacetime, Sofia explained during a briefing, her hands animating complex equations projected in the air. We're not exceeding light speed in the traditional sense. We're shortening the distance we need to travel. It's like folding a piece of paper to bring 2 distant points together. And the risks? Alina asked, needing complete transparency. Sofia's expression grew serious. Theoretical models suggest a 12% chance of drive failure, which would strand us beyond conventional rescue range. There's also an 8% chance of catastrophic system collapse, which would, she hesitated. Would what? Would create a temporary microsingularity that would destroy the ship and everything within approximately 50,000 kilometers. A tense silence fell over the briefing room. I volunteer, said a voice from the back. Marcus Chen, one of Earth's most decorated pilots, stepped forward. If anyone's going to fly an experimental suicide machine to save alien refugees, it might as well be someone who's already beaten the odds a few times. His gallows humor broke the tension, and soon others volunteered. Within days, Alina had assembled complete crews for all three vessels: scientists, engineers, medical specialists, and pilots, all willing to risk everything on humanity's most daring mission. As launch day approached, global attention focused on Operation Lighthouse. Billions watched the final preparations, their initial fear and suspicion gradually replaced by collective hope and pride. Children in schools across Earth learned about the Valkyrie, creating artwork and messages to send with the rescue fleet. Religious leaders offered prayers and blessings, while scientists worked around the clock, providing last-minute refinements to the mission parameters. On the eve of launch, Alina addressed her crews, acutely aware of the historical weight of the moment. "Tomorrow, we embark on humanity's first mission beyond our solar system," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We go not as conquerors or explorers, but as rescuers, extending a hand of friendship to beings who, despite their different origins, share our fundamental need for compassion and aid in times of crisis." She looked at the faces before her, determined, nervous, resolute. The Valkyrie called into the darkness of space, never knowing if anyone would hear them or respond. "Tomorrow, we answer that call. We show them, and ourselves, what humanity truly stands for when faced with the opportunity to rise above our differences and our fears." The crews erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the shipyard. As Alina returned to her quarters for a final night of rest before launch, she paused to look out a viewport at Jupiter's swirling clouds. Somewhere beyond the limits of human exploration, 42,000 souls drifted toward destruction, their hopes pinned on a species they had never met. "We're coming," she whispered to the distant stars. "Hold on just a little longer." The next morning, as the rescue fleet prepared for departure, Alina took her place in Prometheus's command chair. The experimental drives hummed with potential energy, ready to attempt what no human technology had achieved before. "All systems green," reported Marcus from the pilot station. "Hawking drives showing nominal readings across all vessels." Alina opened a channel to all three ships. "This is Commander Reyes. Our mission is clear: reach the Valkyrie fleet, render all possible assistance, and guide them safely through our solar system. The next few weeks will test us in ways we cannot predict, but I have absolute faith in each of you." She took a deep breath, aware that her next words would be recorded in history books for generations to come. Lighthouse Fleet, prepare for departure. Humanity's first interstellar mission begins now. Salvation among the stars. The activation of the Hawking drives created a spectacle unlike anything witnessed in human spaceflight. As the equations predicted, space itself seemed to fold around the three vessels, stars blurring into streaks of light as conventional physics gave way to something more profound. Inside Prometheus, the flagship of humanity's rescue fleet, Commander Alina Reyes gripped her command chair, her body pressed back by forces that the ship's inertial dampeners couldn't fully compensate for. "Status report," she managed through gritted teeth. "Hawking drives functioning at 94% efficiency." Sofia Kovac called from the engineering station, her voice tight with concentration. "Spatial compression stable. We're actually doing it, Commander." The journey that would have taken conventional spacecraft months compressed into days. The crew adapted to the strange sensations of folded space travel. The occasional flickering of lights, the subtle warping of sound, the disorienting moments when physical objects seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Sophia assured them these effects were expected, merely the perceptual consequences of bending the fabric of space-time. On the fifth day, Marcus Chen's voice broke through the ship-wide comm system. "Preparing to exit compression field. Transition in 3, 2, 1. Reality snapped back into focus with a disorienting lurch. Through Prometheus's forward viewport, Alina beheld a sight no human had ever witnessed: the Valkyrie Exodus fleet. Dozens of enormous vessels drifted in the void, their designs both alien and hauntingly beautiful. The ships resembled massive crystalline structures, with geometric patterns that seemed to fold in impossible ways. But even to untrained human eyes, their distress was evident. Several vessels listed at odd angles, their hulls marred by scorch marks. The lights that traced their elegant contours flickered erratically, some sections completely dark. "Open a channel using the translation protocols," Alina ordered. "Broadcast on all frequencies." The communications officer nodded, and Alina drew a steadying breath. "This is Commander Alina Reyes of Earth Vessel Prometheus. We received your distress call and have come to render assistance. Please respond." Minutes passed in tense silence. Then the main view screen illuminated with an image that sent gasps echoing across the bridge. The being that appeared before them had a form vaguely reminiscent of Earth's cephalopods, a central body with multiple graceful limbs that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Its skin rippled with bioluminescent patterns of deep blues and purples. Where a human might have a face, the Valaceri had a cluster of sensory organs surrounding what appeared to be multiple eyes, opalescent orbs that reflected starlight in hypnotic patterns. "Earth Vessel," came the translated voice, a synthesized approximation that couldn't fully capture the musical quality of the Valaceri language. "I am Navigator Prime Phileas of the Valaceri Exodus Council. Your presence defies our understanding. Our sensors detected your vessels appearing from nowhere, utilizing technology beyond our comprehension." Alina stepped forward. "We received your distress call and developed this technology specifically to reach you in time. We've come with engineers, medical specialists, and resources to assist your fleet." The alien skin rippled with new patterns, an emotional response the humans couldn't yet interpret. "You developed new technology to rescue strangers?" Phileas asked, the translation conveying confusion. "You risk your lives for beings you had never encountered." "It's what we do," Alina replied simply. "When someone calls for help, we answer." The Valaceri's limbs moved in what might have been their version of a respectful gesture. "Then the Valaceri welcome humanity among the compassionate species of the galaxy. Your aid is desperately needed." The true scope of the Valaceri's crisis became clear as the human ships approached the alien fleet. Far from being merely damage, the Exodus vessels were in the final stages of systemic failure. The radiation storm they had encountered had corrupted their bioorganic propulsion systems. Technology that Alina's team discovered was fundamentally different from human engineering approaches. "Their ships are partially alive," Dr. Nakamura explained during the first technical briefing. "The Valaceri developed biotechnology that integrates living tissue with mechanical components. It's extraordinarily advanced, but it means the damage isn't just mechanical. Their ships are essentially suffering from radiation sickness." This revelation complicated the rescue effort enormously. Human replacement parts were incompatible with Valaceri systems, and the translation of technical specifications between such different technological paradigms proved challenging. The first breakthrough came when Sofia Kovac and Elon, a Valaceri bioengineer, found a way to adapt human power cells to support the Valaceri life support systems. Working together in an improvised lab between their vessels, the two engineers discovered that despite their entirely different approaches to technology, certain fundamental principles of energy transfer remained constant. "It's not going to fix their propulsion," Sofia reported, exhaustion evident in her voice after 36 hours of continuous work. "But it should keep their life support functioning long enough for us to figure out the next step." Meanwhile, Alina and Navigator Prime Phileas developed a rapport that transcended their biological differences. Through dozens of meetings, they shared the histories of their respective species. Alina learned that the Valaceri were fleeing the explosive death of their star, an event they had predicted centuries ago, giving them time to build their Exodus fleet and preserve their civilization. "Our journey was to last 7 generations," Phileas explained, translucent limbs rippling with what Alina had come to recognize as sorrow. "We were to travel to a system we call the Nurturing Light, where planets suitable for our adaptation exist. We had completed nearly 80% of our journey when the radiation storm damaged our fleet. "We'll help you complete that journey," Alina promised, though she wasn't yet sure how humanity would fulfill such a commitment. The cultural exchange extended beyond the command staff. The human crews worked alongside Valaceri engineers, developing new communication methods when the translation software proved inadequate for technical terms. Medical teams studied Valaceri biology, learning how to treat radiation exposure in their unique physiology. In return, the Valaceri shared knowledge of cosmic phenomena humans had never encountered and biological adaptations that Earth scientists found revolutionary. 2 weeks into the rescue operation, a new crisis emerged. Long-range sensors detected a massive solar ejection from a nearby star, a natural phenomenon that would engulf the stationary fleet with lethal radiation within days. "We can't move them in time," Marcus reported grimly during the emergency meeting. "Even if we daisy-chain our engines to their ships, there are too many vessels, and they're too massive. We'd need 10 times the power we have available." Alina stared at the projected path of the solar storm, refusing to accept defeat. "What about the Hawking drives? Could we extend the compression field to include their ships?" Sophia shook her head. "The mathematics wouldn't work. The field becomes exponentially more unstable with each additional mass. We'd risk creating that microsingularity I warned about." Thelius, who had joined the meeting via holographic projection, made a sound that the translators couldn't interpret. "Perhaps there is another approach that combines our technologies." All eyes turned to the Valaceri leader. "Our ancestors developed theoretical models for what you might call dimensional folding, similar to your Hawking drive principle, but abandoned because we lacked materials that could withstand the energies involved. However, your compression field stabilizers might be compatible with our bioorganic field generators." Sophia's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. "You're suggesting we create a hybrid system, use our technology to stabilize yours?" "Precisely," Thelius confirmed. "Together, we might generate a field large enough to move the entire fleet simultaneously." What followed was the most intensive engineering effort in human history. Engineers from both species worked around the clock, integrating technologies that had evolved along entirely different paths. The Valaceri's bioorganic systems, capable of adapting and learning but vulnerable to radiation, were paired with human quantum stabilizers and reinforced with protective shielding. With time running out, the combined team completed the integration of the hybrid drive system. Installed aboard the largest Valaceri vessel, the experimental device hummed with potential and danger. "The moment of truth," Sophia murmured as final diagnostics ran. Beside her, Elan's skin rippled with patterns that human crew members had learned indicated anxiety mingled with hope. Alina addressed the combined human and Valaceri crews from Prometheus's bridge. "If these calculations are correct, the hybrid drive will create a compressed space bubble large enough to transport the entire fleet beyond the path of the solar storm. If they're wrong." She left the consequences unstated. Everyone knew the risks. "I will activate the drive from the primary vessel," Thelius announced. "It is our responsibility to bear this risk." "No," Alina countered. "We do this together. Prometheus will maintain position alongside the primary vessel. My ship, my risk." Despite objections from both crews, Alina held firm. As the countdown to the solar storm's arrival reached its final hours, Prometheus docked with the Valaceri flagship. Alina joined Thelius in the alien vessel's equivalent of a bridge, a circular chamber where bioorganic controls pulsed with flowing light. "Our peoples met as strangers," Thelius observed as they prepared for activation. "We faced this danger as allies." Alina nodded, suddenly struck by the profound significance of this moment. Human and alien, united by common purpose despite their differences. Initiating hybrid drive sequence, Sophia's voice came through the comm. "Compression field forming. Stabilizers online. Field integrity at 82%. 89%. Holding at 92%. That's within acceptable parameters. Ilan confirmed, limbs moving across control surfaces that responded to touch and biochemical signals. Expanding field to encompass secondary vessels, Sophia continued. Field integrity holding. Expansion continuing. Through the viewing portal, Elena watched as a shimmering distortion spread outward from their position, engulfing Valaceri ship after Valaceri ship. The laws of physics bent to the combined will of two species technologies. Final vessel encompassed, Elon reported. Field integrity at 87% and stable. Thelius turned to Elena, eyes shimmering with an emotion that needed no translation. Your species risked everything for ours. This will not be forgotten for all the generations of Valaceri to come. Prepare for dimensional translation, Sophia's voice called. All personnel secure for transit in 3, 2, 1. Reality folded around them, stars blurring as the enormous bubble of compressed space carried 47 vessels and over 42,000 souls across the void in a single impossible moment. When normal space reasserted itself, the combined fleet had moved beyond the path of the incoming solar storm. Cheers erupted across every vessel, human and Valaceri voices joining in a celebration that transcended biological differences. In the days that followed, the rescue operation transformed into a collaborative mission of repair and renewal. With immediate danger averted, human and Valaceri engineers focused on permanent solutions for the damaged Exodus fleet. The hybrid drive technology, refined through continuous testing, provided a model for a new propulsion system that combined the best aspects of both species' approaches. 3 months after the initial distress call, the Valaceri fleet prepared to resume their journey to the nurturing light. Before departure, the Valaceri Council invited human representatives aboard their primary vessel for a ceremony unlike any in human experience. The vast chamber pulsed with bioluminescent light as thousands of Valaceri gathered, their bodies creating living patterns across walls and ceiling. At the center, Elena and her crew stood alongside Thelius and the Exodus Council. Today, we honor those who answered our call when we had abandoned hope, Thelius announced, voice carried through human translators and Valaceri biochemical communications simultaneously. The species known as humans has shown us that compassion can transcend the boundaries of evolution and origin. A sphere of swirling liquid metal rose from the floor, shaped by the combined will of the gathered Valaceri. It formed itself into an intricate model showing 2 intertwined spirals, the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies. We offer this cartograph of connection, Thelius continued. It contains the locations of 17 spacefaring civilizations known to the Valaceri, including safe routes, communication protocols, and cultural contexts. With this gift, humanity may join the greater community of intelligent life that spans our shared cosmos. Elena accepted the gift with trembling hands, fully aware of its incalculable value. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we accept this gift with profound gratitude. The friendship between our peoples was forged in crisis but will endure in peace. She turned to address the assembled Valaceri, feeling the weight of speaking for all humankind in this historic moment. When your signal reached our small outpost at the edge of our system, humanity faced a choice: to turn inward in fear or to reach outward in hope. In choosing to answer your call, we discovered something about ourselves. That the same impulse that once drove our ancestors to pull strangers from stormy seas now extends to the stars themselves. Elena gestured to the gathered human crew, the engineers, scientists, pilots, and medics who had risked everything for beings they had never met. We came because it was right. We stayed because we found not just those in need of rescue, but friends worthy of alliance. As you continue your journey to your new home, know that you do not travel alone in this vast universe. Humanity will remember the Valaceri, and we will look to the stars with new understanding, not just of what lies beyond, but of who we are when we are at our best. The chamber resonated with the harmonic vibrations that signified Valaceri approval. As the ceremony concluded, Elena stood with Thelius on an observation platform, watching human vessels prepare to depart for Earth. Your people will return changed, Thelius observed. Your encounter with us has altered your path as a species. Elena nodded, gazing out at the stars that no longer seemed quite so distant or cold. That's what great journeys do. They change the traveler. Will you tell others of our meeting? Thelius asked. Every child on Earth already knows your name, Elena replied. They'd been following our mission from the beginning. When we return with proof of intelligent life beyond our world, and with the knowledge that this life reaches out in friendship, it will transform how we see ourselves and our place in the universe. And the cartograph. Will humanity seek out these other civilizations? Elena smiled. It's in our nature to explore, to connect. The cartograph gives us destinations, but the journey was always going to be ours to make. As the Prometheus detached from the Valkyrie vessel to begin its journey home, Elena took one last look at the Exodus fleet. Its lights now burned steady and strong, no longer flickering with the threat of extinction. Soon those vessels would continue on their own journey, carrying their precious cargo of life and culture to a new beginning. Earth awaited her return with countless questions about the species humanity had saved and the wider galactic community they had discovered. Treaties would need to be drafted, cultural exchanges established, technologies shared and developed. The work ahead was enormous, but Elena found herself eager to begin. Humanity had answered a call from the stars, and in doing so, had taken its first steps into a larger universe, not as conquerors or mere explorers, but as rescuers, allies, and friends to life forms they had once only imagined. As Prometheus engaged its hawking drive for the return journey, Elena thought of the message she would send ahead to Earth. We are not alone, and we are better for it.